What's up YouTube, it's your boy Naughty Nev. Welcome back to another video. So it is currently season 48 of Master Duel, and as you guys can tell by the title of this video and the screen you are looking at, yes guys, I made it to Master rank 5 with Cyber Dragons once again. So just to break it down for you, I will show you a couple of replays. Just for this first replay, I will show you the winning match that got me into Master rank. Followed by that will be many more replays. So I actually got lots of replays for you guys. I wasn't sure how much you wanted to see, and I just want to keep this video juicy for you guys. We'll go over it, I'll commentate, I'll show you the deck lists for the opponent's deck in case of those of you who are interested. I'll also show you my deck list that I played, not for each one, but like obviously some of the changes I made, especially the first video. But guys, here we are, made it to Master rank once again. Obviously after this, the goal is to try get to Master rank 1. Also, Duelist Cup is currently going on right now, so I will try participate in that, see how far I can do with the free time I have. It is a busy month for me this December. But anyway guys, without wasting any time, let's hop right into our first replay, which got us the win into Master rank. Alright guys, so I'm quickly going to pause here. We are going up against Orcust, Finsmith. I believe there's no Mitsurugi, so Orcust, Finsmith. And as you can see, we lost the coin toss. We are going second and we open no hand traps. And that's very unfortunate. But anyway, opponent is going to start. Normal summon Girsu effect to send, Orcust Nightmare. And then its other effect just to give 2 tokens to each player. And then they're going to link summon into the link 1 Galatea, and then they perform a link summon into Moon. So they're starting at Finsmith plays right now. So we're going to see this play. They go into Requiem will summon Lacrima dump Engraver will reborn itself, and then perform a link summon into Sequence, and then Sequence to Fusion summon, obviously into Finsmith Lacrima, and then Lacrima reborn the Engraver, and then they can XC summon into DDD Wave High King Season. And then they go the Galatea effect, banishing Girsu to special summon itself, and then use its effect discarding Hot Power to search for Orchestrated Babel, which they will then activate. Next they'll use Hot Power effect, banishing itself to special summon Symbol from the deck, and then they'll use Symbol and the link 1 Galatea to link summon into the link 2 Galatea. Use its effect, shuffling back Girsu to search for the counter trap Orcust Crescendo. And then next they'll perform a link summon into the link 3, I believe, or could be the link 4. The link 4, Enling Girsu, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Next they'll go Orcust Symbol to special summon the Galatea back, the link 2 that is, and then they'll perform the XC summon into Ding Girsu. Ding Girsu effect is going to equip the Orcust Hot Power to itself, and then they'll go Enlil Girsu, put back Orcust Symbol into the deck, take the token, set an unknown card, and pass for turn. So quite a board we have to go through. The counter trap, 2 special summon negate, a steal, especially when it's sent to graveyard, it will send a card on the field to the graveyard. Then Girsu doesn't do anything on field besides giving protection, and just Galatea reborning itself to make sure that the counter trap stays live. So we do draw into Power Bond, very unfortunate, but let's see what happens. So we activate Clockwork Knight. I know most of Orcust is machine, but we're trying to turn Wave High King Caesar into a machine, and at the same time trying to see if my opponent will use the counter trap to just negate and banish Clockwork Knight, but they don't. And I decide, instead of normal summoning Core, which will immediately get negated by Crescendo, Ashed, or whatever, and not to give my opponent an idea of what we're playing, even though they can tell by the set monster, instead of normal summoning Core, I set the Hurts, perform my contact views into Mega Fleet, challenge 1 Hurts, and then my opponent drops the Max C. No Ash Blossom, so we're taking the Max C challenge. And then chaining 2, they go Enlil Girsu. This is basically, it will banish itself and send 1 card on the field to the graveyard. Now guys, I was worried like, oh no, he's going to send Clockwork Knights, right? But Now, instead he sends Mega Fleet, and I was like, well, that helps us because Hertz will just search Cyber Dragon, and guess what we can do now with the open board? Just special summon Cyber Dragon. Opponent will activate Orcust Nightmare to send Symbol. Not a problem, just get rid of that DD Wave Hiking Caesar, and then Finsmith Lacumal will just activate to burn. Symbol's banish effect is going to reborn the Link 1 Galatea just to keep Crescendo alive. Now, just a key note here. Later on, I did forget that Symbol is the one that reborn the Galatea. Galatea did not use its own effect to special summon itself. So, on a new chain, I activate Regulus, and thankfully that does get the Crescendo out of the way, negating and banishing our Regulus. And now I go Cyberdark. Well, I was thinking here, but let's it go through, so we'll get Chimera. Then Realm to normal summon Chimera. Now we already have Power Bomb, so I just go into the Link 1 Clockwork Knight. That way we get to use Chimera's effect to dump Cyberdark Worm's effect. Since we already have Hertz engraved, instead I say Nashter because the idea is we'll use Clockwork Knight's second effect, reborn Nashter. Nashter can reborn Cyber Dragon or any other card we want, but typically we can get some Cyber Dragon monsters on the field and maybe 2 level 5s if possible. Clockwork Knight targeting Nashter, but it does get hit by Effect Veiler. So here I'm immediately going to Power Bond because I could go into SP, Banish, but we gotta try win this because my opponent is getting a couple of draws and I assume they will draw into Engine for next turn and our board and hand is not looking too good. Rampage Dragon to pop the set card and the field spell, but Dingirsu will protect it. Then Rampage Dragon sending Jormungandr and Core to attack 3 times, and then we just enter Battle Phase. So we attack into the Link 1, that gets destroyed. Pop Power effect is going to activate to summon the Girsu from the deck. We attack into Dingirsu, get some extra damage, so my opponent has 700 life points left. Luckily, one thing I love about Rampage Dragon, it doesn't have to use all 3 its attack in a row. You can now, as I did, I'm attacking with Clockwork Knight first, and then Fortress, and then here, not the Mega Fleet. Rampage Dragon can use its last attack to attack directly. My opponent goes the Link 1 Galatea to summon itself, but this card has 0 attack, and yeah, we just win the game. So we won the game against Orcust Finsmith under Maxi, guys. So this was the winning game. And yeah, let's hop right into the next replay. Okay guys, so now we are going up against Labyrinth. We are going first, and in our hand we have Effect Veiler, Nashter, Maxi, Therion King Regulus, and Imperm. Alright, so unfortunately not much we can do, so we just pass. Pass with 3 hand traps in our hand. And then what does the opponent do? Set 4 pass, Labyrinth going full combo. So we draw for turn, and in the draw phase, my opponent does activate Welcome Labyrinth. We do chain the Maxi to get a couple of draws. They do chain to that the big Welcome Labyrinth, so good for them. They open both Labyrinth traps. So they're going to summon Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle from the deck and bounce it to the hand. And then Maxi will resolve. Welcome Labyrinth is going to summon Ariana effect, and I do decide to implement because the idea is maybe Ariana is going to add Crew Clock, and then Crew Clock can be used late in the turn. Once Lady sets a different trap from the deck, that card can be immediately activated this turn, so hence why I am improving Ariana. And my opponent has no response, so this is going to resolve. And we do open Bell, which can help us, but let's see. So in the main phase, we activate Cyberdark Floor to search for Cyberdark Realm, and my opponent on resolution activates Lady to summon from the hand. We do get a Maxi draw, which is kind of useless right now. Cyberdark Realm will search for Chimera. Realm to normal summon Chimera. Then we normal summon Nashter. The reason why I summon Nashter is because basically, as long as you have either Cyber Dragon Core, Nashter, or Hertz, along with Cyberdark Realm, that's full combo. It's like starting with Cyber Dragon Core, but instead it's just Nashter this time. I did not want to go with the Cyberdark Realm one-card combo. I just don't like that way. Instead, I just wanted to go a normal combo, imagining that it was Cyber Dragon Core, because it's just better for me. It's a better line for us. And also we get to put Nash in grave immediately so that we can summon Therion King Regulus. Alright, link summon into Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight is going to search for the continuous spell. And then we activate the continuous spell because I can try contact views my opponent's board and switch his monsters to fiend. Machines. Because some trap cards like his Labyrinth, even though he can't activate it, but there's some cards that might be like, oh, if you control a fiend, but now they're not because they are all machines now. And also I realized I made a mistake because we had no other spell in our hand. Clockwork Knight was supposed to be the discard for Chimera, so I did mess up here. But let's see what happens. So I do go Clockwork Knight to reborn Nashta, but my opponent does have Impulse in the hand, and because we did not respond, Lady gets to set a different trap. And the trap they do set is the simultaneous equations. Clockwork Knight, negated and destroyed. And now here I go Therion King Regulus to special summon itself, establish that negate. And thankfully for us, we do play a second copy of Clockwork Knight, so we can just link summon into that with Chimera. Chimera's effect to dump Worm. Worm effect sending Hurts, special summon itself, and add Well back to the hand. Cyber Dragon Hurts is going to add Nashta to the hand, and thankfully we added Nashta because we can't use the second effect of Clockwork Knight. As you can see, both effects have already been used. So instead, after contact using, we go Nashta effect, summon itself from the hand, and Nashta will be the card to reborn Chimera, but it does get hit with infinite impermanence, which is very unfortunate. But have no fear guys, because right now this is enough damage board, and we simply just enter battle phase, and speeding up, I just attack the game. So that's the win against Labyrinth. Let's hop into the next replay. Okay guys, so now we are going up against Majestus, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Majestus, Dracoel. We are going second, and we have Duel, Maxi, Core, Regulus, and Cyber Emergency. Pretty good hand. So opponent's gonna go first, and they start off with, what is this card's name? Spenta to search for Zoro, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Zoro effect to equip itself with Artemis, and then they'll use Zoro's effect. If this card becomes equipped with a Majestus monster card, they can special summon one level 4 spellcaster monster from the hand or graveyard in defense. Alright, now because they're going to special summon, I do drop the Maxi. My opponent chains Dracoel 5 mana to perform a fusion summon. I'll just speed it up quickly. So they'll use Malulu and Spenta to go into Aphelion, and then they do summon Spenta from the graveyard of Zoro's effect. Now Aphelion effect is going to activate, targeting Fimenna and Malulu to add back to hand. Malulu is going to set Dracoel Flame, so adds Fimenna and Malulu back to the hand. Majestus effect to search for Crowley, and on resolution of adding that, I was deciding whether I wanted to activate Duel and Lockbird, but I decided to be greedy and get a couple of more draws, so I hold on to the Duel and Lockbird. And now my opponent performs a synchro summon into Bowload Savage Dragon, redrawing to Cyber Dragon Hurts, and then Savage has 1 negate because it equips Artemis, the link 1, and passes for turn, redrawing to Cyberload Fusion. We activate Cyber Emergency because the card we're looking for is Cyber Unigata, a good card to force out Infinity and bait out some interruptions. So we activate, and we do summon 2 level 5s, and I decided to go into Cyber Dragon Nova. So I could have went into Vomana because we know our opponent has Dracoel 5 mana in the hand, but I decided, okay, let me just go into Nova, because if something happens to Nova by chance, we do have that effect of Nova where it can special summon a machine fusion monster from the extra deck. So that was the risk I did take. And also, if something does happen to Nova, we'll get 2 machine monsters in the graveyard to keep Therion King Regulus live. So that is why I did this. And yeah, my opponent activates Fimenna to perform a fusion summon. I go Callby to negate and banish Fimenna, and then that will eat up the Bowload Savage negate. So my opponent will still be able to fusion summon. So Fimenna is going to use Aphelion, Malulu to go into Gulamel. Chainlink 1, Malulu, and because we have no response, Chainlink 2, Gulamel is going to destroy our Nova as I predicted. And the card that Malulu is going to set will be Dracoel as follow-up for next turn. Cyber Dragon Nova will special summon Hero's Varag. This Hero's Varag is for this set card on the far left. Dracoel Flame, Dispel or Trap negate, and now I activate Therian King Regulus, summon itself, so now we have 2 negates. Now I normal summon Core effect, opponent has no response, we'll search for Cyberdark Realm, activate Cyberdark Realm, and here my opponent activates Dracoel Flame to negate, but thankfully for us, I was supposed to use Hero's Varag because that's the reason we bought this guy out. There's a spell or trap activation negate, but instead of using Hero's Varag, I used Regulus, and this could potentially cost us because Regulus is an Omni negate. We could have saved it for Nerve, Ash, Duel, or whatever, so I did make a mistake here. I should have used Hero's Varag instead of Regulus. But all good, we search for Chimera. Now, because 2 monsters were sent to grave, because Regulus was equipped to its Cyber Dragon, Athelion gets to special summon itself from the grave. Realm, normal summon Chimera, and now we're going to perform a link summon into Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight, search for the continuous spell. I go Chimera, I dump Cyberlord Fusion instead of Clockwork Knight because we already had Therian King Regulus, so I can just use Clockwork Knight as a floodgate, turn our opponents into machines, and boost our monsters. Right, so Chimera is going to search for Power Bond, then we go Clockwork Knight, special summon Core, and then Chimera's effect on dump Worm. Now I perform a link summon into Cyber Dragon Seeger, further boosting our monsters, specifically Rampage. Worm effect, special summon itself, add back Cyberlord Fusion. Hertz is going to get Cyber Dragon to our hand. Power Bond to fusion summon into Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon effect, we'll just pop his back row. Rampage Dragon send Nashter and Core. We activate the continuous spell Clockwork Knight, boost Chimera Tech to 4700. Then in the battle phase, Seeger effect, boosting to 6800. And simply here, boom, enough damage, and we win the game against Majestus Dracoel. Alright guys, let's hop into the rest of the replays. Okay guys, so for our first game, we are going up against Dracoel, and we lost the coin toss, so we are going second. In our hand, we have Effect Veiler, Nashter, Maxi, Core, and Cyber Dark Claw. Alright, pretty good hand. So, opponent's going first, a normal summon Lucius effect. I do decide to Effect Veiler that, just so that they can't get a search of any Dracoel monster, specifically 5 mana. But my opponent already had 5 mana in the hand, so we'll go channeling to Maxi since they're going to special summon, well, fusion summon, but essentially special summoning a monster so we can get some draws off of it. 5 mana effect is going to use the two Lucius from the hand to go into their Athelion. On Chain Athelion 1 to add back 5 mana, Lucius chaining 2 to set a Dracoel spell or trap. That is going to be the Ketu Dracoel, and then adding 5 mana back to hand. Okay, opponent's going to activate Ketu Dracoel to search for Frixel. And they'll set an unknown card and then pass for turn. Alright, so we're going to draw into Infinite Impermanence. Normal summon Core effect, search for Cyber Emergency. The reason why I do this is because we'll just use Claw to search for Cyber Dark Realm, and we can use Emergency to search for Cyber Dragon Hertz. Not Cyber Dragon, because we have Cyber Yomangata in hand, so we'll search for Hertz, because we can use Nashter discarding the Hertz to special summon itself. So that was the thinking I had in mind. So we'll go Claw effect, and we're going to search for Cyber Dark Realm. And before anything, I do go Yomangata effect. Yomangata is really good. We can try Force Infinity and put pressure on our opponent. Notice how I am summoning this in defense, because in case it is a Dracoel, I forgot which card it is, but the one that targets an attack position monster and returns it to the hand, I don't want him to bounce any of our level 5, so I summon both in defense. I go Yomangata effect, search for Poly. I was trying to bait my opponent, but my opponent did not respond to it. So we'll go Emergency, we'll search for Hertz to our hand. I go Poly because essentially we can just fusion summon into either Hero's Varag or Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, but I believe I was going for Hero's Varag. Hero's Varag can be the spell or trap negate, but here we finally see that it is Dracoel Flame, the card that does negate a spell card on the field. Okay, so they're going to negate our Polymerization, which is fine with us, perfectly fine. Polymerization is not once per turn anyway, so that's fine. If we ever get it back to our hand, we can fusion summon again. So the next step I do is try bring out a negate. I go straight into Vamana. The reason why we do this is I do know my opponent has 5 mana in his hand, and because he hasn't used it yet, I just want to protect myself from 5 mana by Vamana. Vamana can just negate that monster effect. We don't go Infinity, guys, we just immediately set up and negate. So I do go Realm effect, searching Chimera, and then I go Nashta effect just to dump the core and special summon itself. But then my opponent does have Nibiru, so that does change things, guys. Unfortunately, we do have to protect ourselves from Nibiru. The reason why I did this is because Cyberdog Chimera, we already normal summoned, and so I don't want to go using Realm to summon Chimera and then using Chimera itself to link summon into Clockwork Knight. I don't want to do that. I summoned the Nashta because I was planning to use the Nashta as the link material for Clockwork Knight, so we can keep Chimera on field and discard Clockwork Knight, the continuous spell, to search for Power Bond. But since opponent is dropping Nib, we do go for mana just to negate it, so that's unfortunate. 5 mana is now live, but after normal summoning Chimera, we'll go into Clockwork Knight. I'll just speed it up quickly. Clockwork Knight, search for the continuous spell. Chimera, search for Power Bond successfully, that's great. Then I go Clockwork Knight, reborning Nashta. That way we get to chain block because I can go chainlink 1, as you can see, Cyberdog Chimera to dump, and then chainlink 2, Nashta, just to reborn Cyber Dragon. Here my opponent does go 5 mana effect and we let it resolve. They do use their Arthelion, Frixel to fusion summon into Mysterion, the Dragon Crown. Basically what this card does is, well, loses 100 attack for each of your banished cards, but this is a pretty good effect. If a monster uses its activated effect to special summon itself, or a monster or monsters with its same original type, you can target one of those special summon monsters and banish that monster as well. Well, also banish all monsters on the field with the same type. That is a very powerful effect, guys. So after resolving on the new chain, chainlink 1 Mysterion to banish all machine monsters on our field. Frixel is going to set the Ketu Dracoel, and we do send Cyberdog Worm to grave off Cyberdog Chimera. And yeah, there goes our entire field, but no problem, guys. We already have Power Bond, and we do have enough Cyber Dragon names in our graveyard for Power Bond. So next step I do is search for Therion King Regulus. I go Cyberdog Worm effect, sending Hertz to grave, special summon itself, add the Cyber Emergency back to hand. Hertz effect, just to add 4 to hand. And now I go Therion King Regulus, equipping itself with Cyber Youngada. So now we have a negate. I go Power Bond Fusion. We are going to fusion summon into the one and only Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. And this really helps because Rampage Dragon can just pop the Ketu Dracoel. I use Rampage Dragon sending 2 Light Machine monsters, but because we sent 2 Light Machine monsters, the Arthelion in his grave can activate to special summon itself, and here I do go Regulus to negate because I don't want him to have another 3k body. I'm trying to win this game with in this turn with Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. So I negated, into the battle phase, and here my opponent doesn't have anything, so we are able to win this game against Dracoel. Okay guys, so in this game, we won the coin toss and we're going first against Tenpai, but as you can see, I did not draw into any plays. I just draw into 4 hand traps and 1 dead Power Bond. Alright, so all we can do is simply pass for turn. I'll just let the speed forward. Opponent's going to draw for turn. They normal summon Hydra. We do chain effect Relic to negate Hydra. And luckily, they entered, well, actually, not luckily, they set a card, and I was like, oh, great, they're going to end their turn. Meanwhile, they enter battle phase, and they already have Sanguine Kaiman. So they do activate it, and because it's going to add a Fire Dragon to the hand, and they get to special summon, I do chain Maxi, hoping this will change my opponent's mind. And he does add Genroku, but he special summons Fadra from hand. Genroku effect is going to special summon itself. Attack us for 1700, attack us for 1600. They go Genroku effect to special summon from deck, and here I obviously chain Ash Blossom to negate that. So they can't synchro summon because they don't have any tuners. So hey guys, we survived against Tenpai, so all they do is pass for turn. So we draw for turn, we draw into Cyberdog Chimera. We have Cyber Dragon Core, but first I decided to go Infinite Impermanence to negate Fadra because at the start of the damage step, if well, if a monster battles, they can reborn Genroku from grave. So I decided to negate that first before committing. And now I do normal summon Chimera. The reason why I do this is because I don't want to go core, it gets negated if this is a set imperm, and then that ends our turn there. Instead, we can just normal summon Chimera, send it to grave, and then Chimera will send Worm, then we use Worm effect just to get more Cyber Dragon monsters in our hand and on the field. So that was the idea. As you can see, Worm effect sending Hurts, special summon itself, Hurts effect adds Cyber Dragon. So now we have enough materials for our Bond. We will fusion summon to Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. Rampage Dragon effect to pop, and it turns out to be a set imperm. So it was good because if I normal summon core and it gets negated, that was basically the end of our turn, guys. So good call from me. Now because Rampage Dragon is negated, we can't actually win this turn, so I decided to go into Nova. And unfortunately, my opponent does have Nibiru, so he's gonna get rid of our board. But on the E-Chain, Nova effect will bring out Cyber Eternity Dragon. I could have brought out Heroes Varog, I could have brought out the second Rampage Dragon, but they weren't going to do anything, and Eternity Dragon is 4k defense, so I wanted to protect myself instead. All I can do is pause for turn, opponent draws for turn. They summon Genroku, Genroku effect summon Chandra, Chandra summon Pydra, Pydra get the field spell. They attack with all three. And now, we do have a chance to win here, guys. They go Pydra effect to Synchro Summon, and they're gonna Synchro Summon. I've got his name, but Sangai Biden Dragon. And its effect is to reborn from grave, and thankfully for us, we do have Bell for that. So that stops them in their tracks. They can't do anything from here. Plus our monsters have high defense. So all they do is enter main phase 2, activate the field spell, and pass for turn. Alright, so we draw for turn, we draw into a Maxi. And all I do is just simply enter battle phase, attack Nibiru, and attack the Sangai Biden Dragon, clear his board. Unfortunately, he does have Sangan Summoning, which can search for them a Tenpai Dragon, so that was the risk I was taking, just passing for turn. Essentially, still, I couldn't do anything. I can't even go into SP to banish it, because SP needs to affect monsters. I can't use the Nib token. He goes in, he summons Maxi, guys. So I was like, oh, okay. A Typhon is probably coming. I can't remember if he was allowed to, but I think he can. Going to Typhon, but just in case he was able to, I dropped the Maxi after the summon. But he enters battle phase, and yeah, he just scooped from here, guys. Okay guys, so we are going up against Malice. We are going first. We have Maxi, Chimera, Poly, Crossout Designator, Cybernetic Overflow. So this doesn't look like a good hand. However, Cyberdog Chimera, with any spell or trap card that you can discard, can still lead you to some type of inboard. And let's see if we are able to set it up against Malice. So, normal summon Chimera, Chimera effect. We're extending Cybernetic Overflow because we can add it back with Cyberdog Worm. My opponent does chain Ash Blossom, but thankfully for us, we do have Crossout Designator to negate the Ash Blossom. So we'll add Power Bond to our hand. Next step, link summon into Clockwork Knight. We can't search for the continuous spell, but Chimera is able to send Cyberdog Worm. Cyberdog Worm effect, sending Hurts as cost, and we get to special summon it and add Overflow back to our hand. Hurts effect, add Cyber Dragon. Next we'll go Power Bond. And unfortunately, my opponent does have Dominus Impulse, which is very unfortunate. However, because we weren't able to fusion summon with Power Bond, we do have another fusion card in our hand, Poly. Now you may be wondering, oh, Nevin, you're going to use Cyber Dragon and Cyberdog Worm. No guys, we did not banish any monsters from our graveyard yet. And thanks to Chimera, that's exactly what we're going to do. We can instead use Cyber Dragon in our hand and Hurts in our grave to go into Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, sending Nashta and Yomagata. Next, we're going to Exceed summon into Nova. Nova effect to reborn Nashta. And then Nashta effect to reborn Yomagata. Bring out Infinity. Yomagata effect, add Poly back to our hand because it's not once per turn. I just went Infinity to take Clockwork Knight. I didn't want to leave it on the field. You know, just boost our Infinity by 200, I guess. Poly into Heroes Varog. On summon effect to add back, set, overflow, and pass for turn. I think this was a pretty good turn. against the Ash Blossom and especially the Dominus Impulse that my opponent had. Thankfully, we had Polymerization in our hand. Opponent draws for turn, will add back Power Bond. Main phase 1, they'll activate Allure of Darkness, and I was thinking to myself, okay, this is definitely Malice, and do I want to give them 2 draws? I have Maxi. I could either drop the Maxi now, or I could let them draw 2, drop the Maxi, but in case I get Ash, that's going to hurt me. And I was like, Allure of Darkness is a really good card, especially to draw 2 and just banish a Dark Monster. I don't want them to banish a Malice monster, so I decide to just negate it with Here's Varg. And yeah, my opponent just scoops from there, guys. That's pretty interesting. Okay guys, so now we are going up against Lunalights. We won the coin toss. We are going first. We have Duel, Claw, Cyberdark Chimera, Poly, and Infinite Impermanent. So we're going to activate Cyberdark Claw to search for Cyberdark Ground, but it does get Ash Blossomed. I was quite surprised by that. But I think we are still fine because, as you saw in the previous replay, we'll just normal summon this Chimera to search for Power Bond discarding Poly. We're going to link summon into Clockwork Knight. Chimera's effect, send Worm. Worm sending Core to grave as cost, special summon itself. And then I link summon into SP Little Knight. I activate Power Bond. We're going to fusion summon into Rampage Dragon. And now here I realize that I did make a mistake because, as you can see, I send Hurt and Core. But then I realized, oh wait, damn. I already normal summoned my Cyberdark Chimera. Instead, from Worm, I should have sent Hurts. Hurts will add Cyber Dragon. Then we use Cyber Dragon and Hurts to fusion summon into Rampage Dragon. That way we have 2 level 5. So I did mess up here. This is on me. I realized this mistake. So instead I just go Hurts, add Core. That's follow up. Set the Imperm and pass. Hoping for the best, guys. Because I made a terrible mistake on my side. My opponent starts with Lunalight Masquerade. Use its effect to send... Is that Sheep? I can't remember if it's Sheep. Oh, Hound. Sorry. Silver Hound. And Silver Hound's effect is going to special summon Gold Leo. On summon Gold Leo effect, I do chain Imperm to negate it. My opponent goes Red Reboot. So basically the counter trap, negate Imperm, set it back face down, and we get to set another trap. So I do decide to set the Cybernetic Overflow. Could be another Imperm, but I go for the Overflow. It does add Black Sheep to hand and discard Ice Dragon Prison. Ice Dragon Prison effect, just going to banish Chimera, but important part is we get to activate Duel and Lockwood. So now they can't search for Poly if they don't have it in their hand, or just search for any other cards that allows them to fusion summon. They have Lunalight Wolf, they activate it. They activate Black Sheep, basically to add Silver Hound back to the hand. They were doing this because they were looking for fusion material. They go Gold Leo effect. So when my opponent did activate Black Sheep, I should have went SP chaining to banish Gold Leo and SP. I forgot Gold Leo has an effect to add back from grave, but it is what it is. So they have 3 materials. They normal summon the Silver Hound, activate Wolf to fusion summon, and then I decide to go SP to banish his Gold Leo, so he has less fusion material, because he was probably going to go into Sabertooth, but you know, SP was the card that stopped him, and yeah, we take the win against Lunalight. Okay guys, so we are going up against Finsmith, Orcust. We lost the coin toss, we're going second. We have Ash, Bell, Regulus, Emergency, and Rel. Okay. Opponent is going to start with, what's this card's name? Yeah, this monster, summon itself, add Golem, then Golem effect, again, special summon itself, adds Wedgewood Temple. They'll activate Wedgewood Temple, they use its effect. And now here, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's some Finsmith control deck with the Millennium Engine, but then I see he puts Orcust power in the Spell and Trap Zone. I was like, okay, cool. So luckily I saved the Ash Blossom because I know they can just contact fuse into that level 8 Snake Eyes fusion to put Pop into Graveyard, and then they'll use its Graveyard effect to special summon from deck. So I do save the Ash Blossom. They perform a Link Summon, and then here I find out that they are playing the Finsmith cards. I'll just speed it up. They go into Requiem. They will use Requiem effect, summon Lacrima effect, sending Engraver. Engraver is going to reborn itself, and here I decide, nah, I'll hold on to the bell. If they're going to sequence, I can just negate sequence. That was my main priority. Engraver summoned itself back, link summon into sequence, use sequence effect to fusion summon, and I do bell it, so that is great for us. And now they contact fuse into the Snake Eyes Doom Dragon. Pop power effect is going to activate, and I do Ash Blossom. So here I thought, oh wait, they can still play, because they can just go into Nightmare Phoenix, I believe, the Link 2 Nightmare Phoenix, and then the Link 1 Nightmare, I forgot what it's called, and they can still play. I thought they were going to do this, but then instead they just link summon into SP Little Knight, and I was a bit confused. Yeah, I was very confused. I'm not sure, maybe those guys who are more familiar with Orcust combos, you guys can let me know if my opponent could have just done link summon into Phoenix and then into the Link 1 and carry on playing from there. But instead, they're just going to SP and pass. So we are going to draw into Cyber Dragon Hertz. Activate Emergency. I do search for Jormungandr because we can just force out our negates. And that way we can also use Jormungandr, bring out itself and Cyber Dragon. SP has nothing to banish when we activate Jormungandr. Unfortunately, on a new chain, my opponent does drop the Duel and Lockbird, but no problem for us. We'll activate Jormungandr. I norm summon Hertz, and I'm going to use Hertz and SP to contact fuse. I activate Regulus, and we are going to equip it with Hertz. And now this was actually enough damage on board, 8,300 already. I was thinking over here, my opponent does have Lacrima, but it doesn't matter because our monsters can just attack over it. So simply just enter battle phase, and we had game. We had game right here, and our opponent gives us game. So we take the win against Orcust. Okay guys, so we are going against, how do I pronounce this? Odon trap deck. The man with the mark, you know, that deck, the trap deck, and we want the coin toss. We are going first. We have Nashter, Chimera, Regulus, Imperm, and Cybernetic Overflow. Alright, so we are going to normal summon Chimera effect to search for Power Bond. Link summon into Clockwork Knight. Chimera's effect sending Worm effect sending Hertz. Special summon, add Overflow back to hand. Hertz effect, add Cyber Dragon. I go Regulus to equip itself, and my opponent drops the Maxi, very unfortunate. And now I don't want to give my opponent draws, so I just set the Overflow and Imperm. We have 3 interruptions. My opponent draws for turn, they activate Imperm to negate Regulus. They will activate, what is this card's name? Anubis, the Lost Judge, basically this card, send it to grave, add the man with the mark from the deck to the hand. Normal summon the man with the mark, and pretty good card to Imperm, so I do chain Imperm to negate it. My opponent enters the battle phase, attack Clockwork Knight. They enter main phase 2, they set 2, but in the end phase we do go Cybernetic Overflow, and we are able to pop both back rows, which happen to be Dominus Purge and Apophis the Swamp Deity. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Basically, this is the card does negate, however, it wasn't going to work because they don't control any other continuous traps, so unfortunately that was a dead card in the hand. But at least we have no set cards to go against our opponent when we start our turn with Emergency to search for Core, Cyber Dragon Core effect, search for Cyber Load Fusion because we already have Power Bond. As soon as I activate Power Bond, they just scoop, they'll already know it's game, so we take the win against Odon. Okay guys, we are going against Dracoel. We won the coin toss, we're going first. We have Core, Claw, Cyber Dragon, Cyber Dark Worm. Unfortunately, 2 cards you don't want to see in your opening hand, but it is what it is. And Cyber Emergency. Okay, so we're going to enter the main phase. Norm Summon Core effect. My opponent does chain Fualos, and that's very unfortunate and annoying. We can't give our opponent draws, so I take the risk and accept the fact that we can't overextend here, so I just search for Overflow, search for Realm for next turn, set and pass. Taking a big risk here. My opponent draws for turn and starts with Ketu Dracoel to search for 5 mana, and then they perform a fusion summon. That's very unfortunate. That's one part of Ketu Dracoel I forget. It says if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon. So they do use Malulu, Lucius, and Pimena to fusion summon into Athelion. On the new chain, Athelion chaining 1, they're going to shuffle back Core, Claw, and Pimena, chaining 2 Pimena, chaining 3 Lucius, and chaining 4 Malulu. Pretty something you don't want to see going against Dracoel, so they get to set like up to 3 cards, which is going to be Rahu Dracoel. They are going to set the Dracoel Horn, which bounces a attack position monster, and Flame, basically the spell negate. Bouncing Core and Claw back to our hand, adding 5 mana back to his hand. We activate Overflow on resolution. Unfortunately, we can only destroy 1 card. We will destroy the Rahu Dracoel. My opponent activates 5 mana to perform another fusion summon. Using Athelion and Malulu, they're going to go into Gulimal. And here they just enter battle phase for 2800 and pause for turn. Alright, so we're going to draw for turn. We draw into Ash Blossom, pretty good. Good against the trap cards. I go Emergency to search. We were going to try search for Yomangada, but unfortunately we don't have Cyber Dragon in deck. So Nashta, but it does get negated by Flame. With normal summon Core, my opponent does use Dracoel Sting to the Core effect to banish a card, Emergency. Shouldn't have done that, should have waited, but because we didn't respond, Gulimal will just destroy our Cyber Dragon Core. They do put back Flame back into the deck. I guess they wanted that draw, but I think they should have held on to Sting. We go Claw effect, search for Realm. I was just trying to see if he'll Ash it because he drew into 2 cards. We'll go Worm effect, sending Hurts, add back Overflow. Hurts effect is going to add Core back to hand. I'm doing this again just to bait out anything, but since he didn't, now I go Realm. I'm going to search for Chimera. Realm to normal summon Chimera. Dracoel Horn is going to try and bounce back Chimera back to hand. But I do go Ash Blossom to negate. My opponent chains 5 mana to perform a fusion summon. And the card he's going to go into with Gulimal and Dracoel Pan is going to be Athelion. So they do get to bounce 1 card back to our hand. Chaining 1, Athelion is going to bounce Chimera. Chaining 2, Athelion Engrave to reborn itself. And now Dracoel Pan gets to set and destroy 1 monster on the field. So that's its effect. So they're going to set Dracoel Flame again, destroy Worm. The Athelion Engrave is going to bring itself back, and then Athelion on field is going to bounce Chimera, so all we can do is set Cyberload, Fusion, and Cybernetic Overflow. So my opponent draws for turn, but he enters battle phase, and he's going to deal 6k damage, which is perfectly enough because we had 5200. So in the battle phase, I do activate Cybernetic Overflow, and I decide to banish 2 to pop his set card, as well as one of his Athelion monsters. So all he can do is attack with the 1, but then I found out that Dracoel Pan has a hidden effect. I say hidden because I didn't realize it has this effect. If a face-up fusion monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while it's in the grave, place this card bottom of the deck and special summon 1 non-fusion Dracoel monster from your graveyard. That is quite a decent effect and quite annoying, but he summons Malulu, attacks, and when he declares an attack with Athelion, here I decide to go Cyberload Fusion. Instead of going to Chimera Take Rampage Dragon, instead I shuffle back Hurts, Worm, and Cyber Dragon to go into Cyber Eternity because it has 4k defense. My opponent cannot go over it. In main phase 2, they activate Malulu to perform a fusion summon with itself and Fualos. They're going to go into, I think this is their 3rd copy of Athelion. Athelion is going to bounce back Eternity, and Gulimal is going to bring itself back. Malulu as Channel 3 is going to set a Dracoel spell or trap and negate a face-up monster we control, but it won't matter. They do set the Ketu Dracoel. And now they activate Ketu Dracoel. Because we didn't respond, Gulimal is going to pop Cyberdark Realm on our field. So they do search for Dracoel Fire Mana, but that's, I don't know, probably going to a second Gulimal because they already went through 3 Athelions. Anyway, we're going to start our turn by normal summoning Core effect, search for Emergency. Then we'll activate Emergency to search for Yomangada because we did shuffle back Cyber Dragon. So, Yomangada effect. And instead of going to Infinity, this is why you play Vamana. You play Vamana for this exact situation. My opponent activates 5 mana. We're going to chain with Vamana. And thankfully, chaining with Romana does stop Gulamel from activating to destroy a card. So now my opponent has no interruptions, so we'll use Realm. Just search for Worm, even though we already used the ones for dual effect, but Realm basically to normal summon our Chimera. Core to link summon into Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight search for the continuous spell. I do go Clockwork Knight to reborn Core, so we can contact Fuse. But guys, I literally said to myself, just contact Fuse and then go Chimera effect. Instead, I just went straight to Chimera effect, which defeated the whole purpose of summoning Core. Like, oh my gosh, guys, I was being dumb here. But no problem, we'll just search for Power Bond and perform a link summon into Cyber Dragon Seeger, then Power Bond to Fusion Summon. We're going to go into Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, which is also good that we didn't contact Fuse, because Chimera Rampage Dragon's effect to send up to 2 Light Machine monsters to grave will trigger Gulamel and Othelion to bring itself back from grave. And yeah, basically, we just simply enter battle phase, Seeger, boost, Rampage Dragon, and yeah, that is game. We take the win against Dracoel. Okay guys, so for this replay, we are going up against Dracoel, but we are going second. We have Core, Ash, Bell, Power Bond, and Imperm. So Ash and Bell, really good against Dracoel, so I'm happy to see it in my hand. Okay, opponent normal summons Lucius. I do decide to Imperm Lucius, hoping they don't have a 5 mana, which successfully resolves, so that's good for us. But they do have Ketsu Dracoel, so they will now add 5 mana to the hand. I don't Ash it because I'm trying to save Ash and Bell for their spells and traps that they set. 5 mana effect, Fusion Summon using Lucius and 4 Wallows to go into Othelion. On the new chain, Lucius 1, Othelion 2 to add back 5 mana. Because they're adding back 5 mana, I decide to Bell that. I don't want them to get access to it. And the card they're going to set with Lucius is Rahu Dracoel. But because it's Rahu Dracoel, I decide to Ash it now. Pretty good targets I used for Ash and Bell, I believe. So Rahu Dracoel is going to get negated by Ash Blossom. And my opponent passes for turn. So because I have 2 cards in hand, I assume it's hand traps. We join to Cyberdark Realm, good for us, because if we use Core's effect, which is actually getting negated here by Effect Veiler, at least we have Cyberdark Realm to continue. Okay, so I activate Realm, but my opponent does have Ash Blossom. Wow, that's crazy. So here I just decide to go into Clockwork Knight and search for the continuous spell, just so that I don't have to rely on drawing into it, because Othelion can just attack into Core, and now I have to look for another Core or a monster to link someone into Clockwork Knight. So I was just trying to save the time of searching for this card here. Okay, opponent draws for turn. They have a Malulu. They normal summon it. I thought they can fusion summon, but I guess not. They're just going to enter battle phase. And I believe they don't actually have targets to fusion summon. Mainly because the Dracoel fusion monsters require a monster in the hand. So in our turn, we join to Chimera. Pretty good, because we get to send Worm off of it. I do go Core to summon Hertz. We'll summon Chimera, and the reason why I summon Hertz is, you'll see here, I do link summon into Clockwork Knight, Chimera send Worm. Worm effect is going to dump Nashta as cost to special summon itself and add Realm back to hand. And then we're going to use Clockwork Knight and Hertz to link summon into SP. And this way, Hertz can just add Cyber Dragon. I was thinking of adding Nashta to hand, but then I realized, let me just rather search for Cyber Dragon, and then I can use Power Bond, because I can keep this Worm as a level 5. And then I can use Rampage Dragon just to perform XC Summon. So, change of plans there. Sorry, my bad. I'm lying to you guys. I can't remember what I was thinking here. I think I decided just to go for game. Straight up, just go for game. Oh yeah, sorry, I remembered. We don't have the effect of Chimera to banish from grave, so that's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason. I remember now, guys. We just activate Power Bond, go into Chimera, take Rampage Dragon, activate Clockwork Knight, and we just attack 3 times into our opponent, and we take the win against Dracoel. Okay, guys, so let's talk about my deck list. Okay, so this was the deck list I decided to play. So Dracoel is officially in the meta, and so we had to make some changes. So there are 2 cards that are good against Dracoel. Ash Blossom, and Ghost Spell. So as you can see, I did maximize the copies on them. We were playing 3 copies of each, Ash Blossom and Ghost Spell. I decided to add 1 Talents. Obviously, Talents is not limited. You can play 3, but I decided just to play 1 because I don't want to draw into more than 1 copy. Then the second copy would be a dead card in our hand. So because they can activate from mana during our turn, if you have Talents, boom, then it's good for you. Talents is now live and you can decide what to do. Draw 2, take control, or just look at your opponent's hand. But let's go over the rest of the deck list. So I do play 2 Effect Veiler. This used to be 1 copy, but now I'm playing 2 because Effect Veiler or Infinite Impermanence can be good against Orthelion. We can stop Orthelion from adding cards back from the field or graveyard to the hand. So 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Droll and Lockbird, 1 Hertz, 1 Nashter, 2 Maxi, 3 Cyber Dragon Core, 3 Ash, 1 Cyber Dark Claw. So I had to make some space for Ghost Spell, Talents, and Effect Veiler. So I decided to play 1 copy of Claw instead of 3. Yeah, mainly because Cyber Emergency can search our starter. Cyber Dark Realm is a starter on its own. But just in case, maybe we can just play the 1 Claw. If we see it by chance, then you can search for Cyber Dark Realm. You can remove this. You're more than welcome to. You can remove this and play a different card. That is a possibility. I just wasn't sure what to put in. Maybe you could put for Wallows as a cross-out target. It's up to you guys. I decided to play 1 Claw and it seemed to be working fine. Also, the other reason is after you use Claw's effect, the other 2 copies can just be dead cards in your deck, so drawing into them won't be nice. So that's the other reason. Then we play 3 Ghost Spell, 1 Chimera, 1 Cyber Dragon, 1 Jormungandr, 1 Worm, 1 Therion King Regulus, 2 Nib, 1 Poly, 1 Power Bond, 3 Emergency, 1 Talents, 3 Realm, 1 Clockwork Knight, 1 Callby, 1 Cyber Fusion, 1 Crossout Designator, 3 Imperm, and 1 Cybernetic Overflow. Alright, in the extra deck, we play 2 Chimeric Rampage Dragon. You need to play 2 for combo. 1 Hero's Vogue, 1 Fortress, 1 Mega Fleet, 1 Cyber Eternity Dragon. So if you don't want to play the Cyber Dark Claw, you want to make some changes here, you could add Cybernetic Horizon. There were some games where I did go into Cyber Eternity Dragon with Cyberload Fusion, but this card is mainly used for its graveyard effect. So if you want to dump it to your grave, play Cybernetic Horizon. Then we play 1 Nova. It used to be 2, but I did I did reduce 2 copies to 1 to add Sky Striker Ace Azalea, because obviously Master Duel is the best of 1. If by chance you go second, Azalea is really good because you get to destroy a card on the field. It hasn't come up, but I decided to play it and it never came up. They never banished my 1 copy of Nova from the extra deck. Yeah, it seemed to be fine. So still trying it out to see if it's worth it. But otherwise, 1 Nova, 1 Vermana, 1 Infinity, 1 Zeus, 2 Clockwork Knights. I can say that it's nice to play 2 copies of Clockwork Knights because in some of the replays, hopefully, that you have seen, they stop the 1 Clockwork Knight. You have the 2nd Clockwork Knight for the grind game or just to carry on extending. And yeah, it does help. Then we play 1 Cyber Dragon Seeger, 1 Sky Striker Ace Azalea, and 1 SP. Alright guys, that's the deck profile. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the replays. I hope you learned something from the replays, and I hope the deck profile does help you in deciding what to play in your build so that you can take Cyber Dragons to Master Rank 5 as well as to Master Rank 1. Otherwise guys, this is the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Notinev signing out. Peace.